Hello and welcome to Movie Film Studios, the only podcast that takes you inside the mind of two film studio executives as we unravel and then re-ravel the best that Hollywood has to offer. I'm Isaac.
And I'm AJ, and this week we donned some fabulous new jumpsuits and jumped into the ocean and swam with a blind prehistoric shark. But before we get into something new, it's time for something old as we check in on our last feature in Box Office Report.
Indeed. Last week we released the near-future sci-fi cybernetic military I want to say thriller. Sure, there was a bit of a John Cusack hunting down the meat people in Vetronic.
Yes.
How did that go this week, AJ?
Well, so you know how John Cusack has been in... We sort of set up this trilogy of films with John Cusack playing an eccentric millionaire, then an eccentric billionaire, and this was going to be the final feature in the eccentric heir series. John Cusack has demanded that we make a quadrilogy.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't tell him this was the last film.
No, I didn't. But he figured it out. He figured out that he's like, hang on, I'm playing a trillionaire in this, and I played a billionaire before, and I know what you guys are doing. You think that you're going to get out of your out of casting me from any other film from this point forward. So he said, no, I want in. I want to be in as many of your films as possible. You can't just write me off now. So now, you know who's joined... You know how we had that AI in the trailer that we can't get rid of? Well, guess who's parked up with a new trailer next to it? John Cusack. He's in there now, like, ruminating on plans on how to, like, inject himself into as many of our films as possible. I can't get rid of him. I've tried towing him off the lot. He just drives straight back and parks it there. I know we should get a gate, but I can't afford one.
We're going to have to be a bit careful. Like, normally we just have extras sort of milling around in the background of our films.
Yeah.
We're going to have security, extra security to make sure, John Cusack's not... Like, it's like, it's a quadrilogy. You see me in the back of this other... I'm like, no, John.
Yep.
It's a strict trilogy.
I don't know what to do. It's interesting because most of the actors that work with us never really want anything to do with us afterwards. John Cusack, though, I don't know. Maybe he just hasn't been cast in a lot lately, and he's worried that his new source of revenue is going to dry up. I mean, I don't know how much we've paid him. Surely not eccentric millionaire status.
Maybe that's the thing, though. If he's so desperate to be in our film, that gives us bargaining power to negotiate.
True,
Maybe we just don't even give him contracts.
Yeah.
Just like, and then we can put his name on posters and get people through the door.
Wait, has he won any award? Has he been nominated for an Academy? Let me call the Academy now. So, because I'm just thinking, if John Cusack has been nominated for anything, something big like a Golden Globe or an Academy Award, in the poster, Academy Award nominee John Cusack.
I think we just go starring an Academy Award nominee and never tell anyone that it's John Cusack.
Well,
because he's just in the background of like one shot as an extra. He's somehow made it past security. Yep. I'm like, he's in there. It's an Academy Award nominee. Yep. Well, we won't tell who it is.
The problem is he hasn't been nominated or won anything of note.
A Golden Globe nominee?
Hang on. Yes. No, he was nominated for a Golden Globe for High Fidelity, Best Actor.
Golden Globe, a Kids' Choice Award nominee?
Yep. He was a Teen Choice Award.
Award, that's prestigious, that one.
Choice Movie Actor Sci-Fi for 2012.
Oh, for 2012? I thought we were going back to like Say Anything or...
He won the Chicago Film Critics Award for Most Promising Actor.
There you go.
In Say Anything.
There you go.
So there you go. He's award nominated.
He is. Multiple award nominee.
Yep.
John Cusack.
So there you go. He's out there right now, just milling around.
So beyond that, though, financially, Vetronic success,
moderate success, moderate critical reception as well. Solid, like the 7 out of 10s that you usually see milling about on IMDb.
I think
not bad.
If I see a film that has a 6.4, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. I actually heard recently that Netflix is really strict about releasing how successful their films are.
Really?
Even the directors. So listening to an interview with Duncan Jones, who did...
Moon.
So I'm trying to... What was
World of Warcraft?
Hush or Silence or...
What
was Mute? Mute is the name of that film.
Sure.
With which we discussed here at one point. They won't tell them if the films do well or not.
Really?
So they're like, they give the director the money, they make the film, they turn it in, and that's pretty much it. You don't get any sort of financial feedback.
Yeah, but surely if they never cast you in anything again, that's a pretty good indicator.
Yeah, I know, but at least I suppose if you're a director, you can sort of see the box office results and know if people like your film or not. I personally turned mute off about 15 minutes in because it was real boring. But those statistics are never given to the directors for feedback. So I'm not sure what we're doing with Mufasa Woodada. It would be nice. I don't think we have the ability to track the statistics.
No.
So, like, the stuff is up there. We don't know if people are watching or not. We don't even know if they've subscribed or not. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if...
I mean, no. We have no idea how well our platform's going. But I suppose because everything lives on Netflix for any amount of time, there's no, like, box office period where it's out for, like, a month or two where you can really gauge the beginning and end of a period. Netflix, it's on for in perpetuity or until...
Yeah, and all you get is the now trending.
That's right, yeah. That's what you got to look for, the now trending. If you are a director, if you're a director and you've directed something on Netflix, just check the now trending. If your film is on there, you're doing well. If it's not, better luck next time, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, that was Vetronic, and now it's time for This Week in Trailers. First cab off the ranks, is In Darkness, directed by Anthony Byrne and starring Natalie Dormer, Emily Ratajkowski.
Yeah, Ratatouille. She was in Gone Girl, I think was her first film role after the music video where she danced around topless to that skeezy man.
Sure.
You know you want it.
Don't know.
Anyway, she's in that film. Natalie Dormer apparently co-wrote it with the director Anthony Byrne, who is her fiancé.
Yes.
And the premise of the film is she plays a blind lady who lives in a building where a woman apparently commits suicide. She is the daughter of an Eastern European war criminal, and there seems to be some sort of conspiracy around the suicide. It was probably murder. She may have given Natalie Dormer a secret file or slipped something into her pocket.
Something, yeah.
Natalie Dormer may know something about the murder. She's not telling. It starts off very murder mystery. It reminds me a little bit of Cuckoo's Calling, which was Robert Galbraith, who's J.K. Rowling's pseudonym. Very sort of similar thing. Anyway, and then it goes very sort of like spy thriller. I was quite excited about the early murder mystery stuff. Not quite so excited about the spy thrillery stuff.
Did it seem like in this trailer, because this is one of those trailers where everything's cut together very quickly, you don't have a real good idea of what's going on, but it seemed like at some point that Natalie Dormer's character seemed to know some kind of kung fu or some kind of action.
I was getting a little bit of a Rutger Hauer Blind Fury.
Yeah.
There was a Blind Fury that he was in where he was like a swordsman.
Yeah.
It didn't actually show anything explicit, but there were definitely points where she was going to use that little sort of guiding stick with the ball on the end that you tap on the ground if you're vision impaired to find sort of level changes. And she was going to start using that to, like, blind monk style wail on things.
I think it's a thing for, like, differently able people. It seems to be they're appearing in more films, or at least actors playing people who are differently able. So you have that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson Towering Inferno remake.
Yeah,
what's it called? Apartment? No.
You said the Towering Inferno. I just think it's called Tower, right?
Sure, why not? And he's got like a fake leg. He's an amputee. And then you've got this film where Natalie Dormer is
Mad Max Fury Road, another
blind.
one where Charlize Theron plays an amputee.
True, yeah, absolutely. So I suppose it's weird that they're casting actors that don't have any of those particular physical conditions, but I guess
at least it's bringing awareness to those sorts of things. Yeah. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. I don't think I'll see it. It seems like very low budget. And I do like Natalie Dormer. She was quite good in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
And she played Moriarty in the NBC original series Elementary, which was
the
like
one with Lucy Liu.
Yeah, interesting twist on that sort of dynamic. But I'm not sure if she's leading lady material. I suppose we'll find out.
Who knows? We'll find out. All right. Film number 2. We might as well give you the film that has 2 in its title. It's The Incredibles 2, directed by Brad Bird, produced by Pixar and Disney, and starring pretty much the entire original cast of the first film, barring Dash, because the kid has actually grown up and you can't really cast the same actor anymore. So this film takes place, I think, pretty much immediately after the first film.
It's got to be within a year or two. Character age wise, and
yep. So you know, all the characters are back: Violet, Elastigirl, Mr. Incredible, and so on. And the premise this time is that it's Elastigirl who's been called back into action, leaving Mr. Incredible to deal with the kids and, you know, basically be a bit of a house husband. Interesting concept. Kind of a very fun idea. A lot of gags at the expense of Mr. Incredible, who doesn't seem very well suited to the job of looking after kids. And in particular with Jack the baby, who has developed just a multitude of insane abilities. Like he turns into like a fiery imp at most points. He can go invisible. He explodes randomly.
There's a certain point where most superhero genres have given all of the powers to one of the heroes. So Superman just has all of the powers. I think in X-Men, Rogue can absorb all people's powers. In Heroes, it was like Milos Ventura. Like his character just was way too powerful because he could just take everyone else's power. This one, they've given it to that, but like they've also given it to like a 6-month-old baby.
Exactly.
And it kind of makes it work.
Yeah, it does.
Like the most powerful superhero of them all is this baby. And again, the world will probably be somewhat broken if that baby grows up into an adult and has all of these powers.
Absolutely.
But at the moment, it's it's quite interesting.
Even
and
an adult villain as well. Because like that baby could go either way. Could grow up to be a hero, could grow up to be the villain.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Looks fun. I mean, I have great respect for Brad Bird. He has he's put out quite a lot of good films and some rather average films as well. Tomorrowland, anyone? So yeah, I'm hoping that this is a return to form. Everyone's been sort of craving a sequel to The Incredibles for a long time.
Because in my mind at least, The Incredibles is such a phenomenal self-contained film that when they announced a number 2, I went, no! I have exactly what I want in this great, because it's stylistically great. The story is phenomenal. It tells an interesting perspective on the way that the world has dealt with superheroes. It has a great family dynamic. It just does everything perfectly. And the only thing that I can think can happen is they make a really bad film, and it somehow makes me think less of the first film.
So I'm with you. I'm with you entirely. And I think that for most of Pixar's output, even the ones that have had sequels, the first films, or even just every film in succession, has been standalone, and they feel like they can just exist on their own and not really need a sequel. So they're not leaving you on a cliffhanger. They're not setting up anything substantial for a potential sequel. And The Incredibles was definitely like that. But Brad Bird's always said, you know, I'll do a sequel if I can come up with a good idea for it. And to
you know
his
what
credit,
they said that too? The director, I think Roland Emmerich, said that of Independence Day. Is like, for years and years and years, people have been saying, do a sequel to Independence Day. And I said, I'm not going to do it unless I can come up with a good enough idea that it'll be worth it. And I didn't even know that, like, ID10 or whatever they called it, like, I didn't know it came out at the cinema. Legitimately, I said, oh, they're going to bring that out soon. And my friend's just like, I saw it in the cinema 2 months ago. I
think we might have mentioned it on a podcast like ages and ages ago, back in the early days of movie film studios, and we both completely missed the release date of it.
Like it was that. Like I hope that doesn't happen. Actually, to be fair, I don't think any less of Independence Day, because the sequel came and went without me even noticing it. Like, I think I'd think less of it if I went and watched it and the sequel was bad. Just like, but the issue is that I'm going to go see Incredibles 2 because the first one was such a good film.
Absolutely.
That I'm just worried.
But the thing is, I've grown way past a stage where any theoretical or released sequel could ruin something that I already love.
So I mean, I'm doing a pretty good job of ignoring Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Although, having said that, although we watched Last Crusade last year, I don't go back and watch the trilogy quite as much as I used to. Same thing with Star Wars. I just like it. Kind of, it's a bit of a bittersweet because just like it was once so good.
See, I rewatched the original trilogy very recently. Still great.
Yeah, I know it is.
Still great.
But do you not feel like slightly like, why couldn't they do anything like this?
No, I don't. In fact, I watched it and thought, I'm so glad that these films still exist.
Okay. That is actually a really good perspective, because they mean so many different things to so many different people that I don't think anyone can ever really get it right.
No.
And if you can just go back and enjoy the thing that you enjoy, and just go, you know what, the new stuff isn't for me, but I still have a thing that I love. I think if I can bring that perspective to The Incredibles 2, look, I mean, it could be a really good film.
It could be.
I could go, you know what? There's a thing that I love called The Incredibles, and now there's a new thing I love called The Incredibles 2. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'll try not to let it warp my bitter perspective.
I was going to say Pixar have a good track record with sequels, but they don't.
We've had this conversation before.
They do not.
Cars 2, Finding Dory.
Cars 3.
I mean, just
Monsters University.
Monsters University is horrid. It's such a bad film. Toy Story 2 is really good.
Toy Story 2 is great. Toy Story 3 is phenomenal.
Yeah. But
that's it.
That is really it. There, they don't do sequels.
No.
Who knows? I hear Inside In is really good as well.
Okay. All right. On to the third and final film for this week's episode, and it is
The Meg.
The Meg, not based on the Family Guy character.
Yeah,
of the same
really,
name.
Potentially the worst film title.
It's awful.
It is. So it is. Basically, the Meg is short for Megalodon.
Yes.
Which was the largest shark to have ever existed. It's a prehistoric beast.
Mm-hmm.
And this is sitting somewhere between Deep Blue Sea and Jaws.
Sure.
Where there's a giant aquatic creature who's attacking people. It's got Jason Statham. Ruby Rose is in there, Australian Ruby Rose. Rainn Wilson to add a little bit of levity, because apparently Jake Johnson wasn't available. And there seems to be like a research station where these guys are trawling the bottom of the ocean, trying to see what they discover, and they discover this, I don't even know how long it is, 60, 70 meter long shark.
It's if you remember the shark dinosaur from Jurassic World that we affectionately call Barry Nibbles.
Barry Nibbles.
It's that size.
It's
gigantic.
And we also see shots in here of like giant squid, and it's giant shark versus giant squid. I mentioned while we were watching the trailer, it feels very like original Lost World. Not the Jurassic Park sequel back. There was a couple of films. There was one in the 30s, I think another one in the 60s, which had the Ray Harryhausen claymation dinosaurs, and they discover a place where giant creatures exist, and these giant creatures are fighting one another. And it kind of feels a little bit like that. But then it's also not taking itself too seriously. I kind of feel as though there's a whole bunch of Sci-Fi Channel originals, like your Sharknadoes or your Robo Shark versus Dino Gorilla, or whatever they happen to be, which are really low budget and done really badly. It's like someone went, what if we had money to do this well? How would that look?
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, obviously they put all of the money into the special effects and none into the guy who came up with the film title.
It's based on a novel, actually.
Yeah, 1997 novel.
And the novel also includes the word The Meg in some pattern. This feels it does feel like the Sharknado with a slightly more believable plot and some slightly better special effects as well.
Directed by John Turtletaub.
There you go.
Who did Cool Runnings.
He did, yeah.
I can definitely see the career path from Cool Runnings to The Meg. It would have had to have passed through a little film called National Treasure and National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets. He's done a few films along the way.
Disney films, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Cool Runnings and National Treasure, both Disney productions.
He's had enough of the mouse. He's branched out.
It's difficult. It's like there's a gravitational pull of Disney that's sucking everything in. It's quite difficult to get away from it.
Is Disney going to buy the rights to the Meg at some point?
Maybe.
Just to get him back in. Just to get John... what's his name? Turtletaub back into the fold. They're going to buy the rights to the Meg, and it will be a Disney film. And then the Meg will be a Disney princess.
Interesting.
It's... I don't know if it's female or not, but if it is,
Could
Disney
be.
princess.
Could be.
There you go. All right. Those are the 3 films for this week's episode. But of course, before we do anything with those, we're going to have to take a little stroll to a little green place.
All right, let's go.
Here we go.
All right. That was refreshing.
It was, yeah.
Let's summarize. First up, we have a murder mystery spy thriller with a person with differently abled person. We have a sequel to a beloved children's animated classic, which sounds so familiar. I swear, Not a week goes by where there's not at least 2 or 3 new trailers come out that fit that criteria.
We're going to run out of beloved children's classics soon. We're going to have to make some more.
And finally, we have a giant monster creature film.
Yes, indeed. Now,
I chose last week.
Yes.
It is your turn to choose which 1 or 2 or 3 of these. No, we'll focus on one. Which one do you want to do?
We
which
usually
genre?
jam in a little bit of
Little
all
bits
of them in
here
there,
and
but
there.
one of them has definitely piqued my interest. And let's not beat around the bush. It's the Meg.
It is the Meg.
It's 100% the Meg.
It has to be.
We haven't done. If I recall, we haven't. Well, we've kind of done a monster film, but not really to this degree. Back in the early days of this podcast, we of course came up with the character of Barry Nibbles, who is a sentient shark dinosaur who was cast in Jurassic World.
Plesiosaur,
yeah,
maybe.
possibly.
I'm not sure what the type of dinosaur it was, but
and then was never cast in anything again, despite the fact that he really wanted to act.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because Lost World had a new trailer today.
That's right, yeah.
And he is in the background as a whole bunch of people are surfing on a giant wave. You kind of see him lurking in the background.
I feel like he could have been cast in the Meg as the Meg. But,
yes, I think he was contractually obligated. He's only allowed to work. He's got a non-compete.
Okay.
NDA, NC, sure. Whatever the contract.
Non-complete clause.
Where he's contractually obliged. They used to do that quite a lot in the golden age of Hollywood.
Absolutely.
Is like sign people on and they couldn't make films with other studios.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that reanimated dinosaurs don't have like the Studio Actors Guild protections that they do. But he's stuck with. Who does Jurassic Park? What studio is that?
Universal,
yeah. He's locked into Universal, unfortunately.
So Disney will buy them out at some point.
It's also kind of weird that the Meg came out. We watched a trailer for Deep Blue Sea 2 not too long ago. And speaking of Milo Ventimiglia, whatever his name happens to be, he's in the film.
Ventimiglia, I think.
Just horrendous. Like a really, really bad, low-budget, nonsense sequel to an all-right monster film from like 15 years ago. I don't know why they're doing a sequel now.
It's direct to video, and it literally says on the end of the trailer, direct to video.
It's good to I like it when they let us know in the trailer. It's like, when are we going to go not watch this in the movies? All right, we don't have to not watch it in the movies because it's not going to be there.
Even just that they still use the words direct to video despite the fact that video technology does not exist anymore and no one uses it.
I mean, is it VHS? Like when they say direct to video.
But I mean that phrase came out in the VHS era because
it did.
That's when the film started appearing on VHS.
The videotapes and DVD in DVD was volatile and not video.
I thought it was versatile.
I think it's volatile.
Pretty sure it's versatile.
Maybe
digital versatile disc.
I thought it was volatile, but
it's not video.
Wouldn't make a lot of sense if it was volatile. I used to have a movie on here and it's gone. Well, shouldn't have put it on a digital volatile disc. You know how those things are temperamental.
Yeah, that's the thing. I suppose you could say direct to streaming video. Direct to Mufasa would be better, honestly.
I think it's all
weird. Yeah, anyway. It's all anachronistic and archaic. But anyway, so we're going to make a monster creature film.
Yes.
All right, so first things first, we need a monster. We need a monster that we haven't seen before.
I have an idea for this.
Okay.
And this comes from a conversation I was having with some people at work.
Yep.
And it came up. Do you know what the largest creature that not only exists at the moment, but to have ever existed?
Yeah. What is it?
It is a blue whale.
Yes.
Like it is like twice the length of a megalodon.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's like, it is not like people are like, oh yeah, the blue whale, largest animal alive today. It's not just that. It's like twice the size of any animal that has ever existed throughout the living history of Earth.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think you can't really get a scale of the blue whale because every time you see them in their natural habitat, they're just surrounded by ocean. There's nothing to like place next to them in terms of scale. So you have no idea how big they are in relation to other things.
There's a really good infographic. If you go to Google, type in blue whale scale comparison, click on images, the first one that shows up is the blue whale size as compared to all other large creatures.
All right, blue whale scale comparison on Google Images. Holy cow. It's huge.
It is enormous. More than twice the size of Megalodon.
Yep.
There's a plesiosaur that there's Predator X. You've got a killer whale next to it. Killer whales are tiny. a massive, like, could eat you in a single bite.
Yep.
And the blue whale is, what, 5 times longer than a killer whale?
Well, let's use the Brachiosaurus. Let's go back to Jurassic Park, because everyone has a good idea of how big the Brachiosaurus is in Jurassic Park. And the blue whale is easily twice as long as the
head to tail, twice as long, and that's not just talking about volume, because this thing is big.
Yeah,
I mean, we've talked about this enough. This thing is big. There is no reason that we should not be utterly terrified of this thing.
Yeah, and the only reason we're not is because blue whales only eat plankton.
Exactly.
They don't eat anything larger than just microscopic bits of prawn and other krill and bits and pieces.
So there's the basic premise of Deep Blue Sea was that as part of Alzheimer's research, they were injecting a chemical into sharks' brains so that they could harvest that chemical for a drug to cure people who had Alzheimer's and a variety of other brain issues. But in doing so, they enlarged the size of the shark's brain to the point where it became intelligent and started attacking people and unexpectedly killing Samuel L. Jackson and a whole bunch of things that is the one scene in that film that makes it worth watching. The rest of it's pretty bad.
The rest is rubbish. Okay, so I actually know of one thing that's inside most whales that is fairly prized, but obviously very hard to get, and that's ambergris.
Ambergris, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a...
Prized by perfumists?
That's right, absolutely. And obviously very rare, because you can't get that substance from a living whale. They usually wait for a whale to wash up on a beach dead somewhere.
Yeah,
and then they go and get it.
It also is like it vomits it up occasionally as well, and so they can just find it floating in the ocean, but less common. So what we've got is a rogue group of perfumists.
Not even a rogue group. I reckon it's like a conspiracy. Like there is a shadowy over-order, like an order of the perfumists who own Chanel, who own
I don't know,
Calvin Klein,
a shady secret organization who have employed scientists to genetically engineer the blue whale so that they can get their hands on an unlimited supply of ambergris.
Yeah, is it ambergris or ambergris?
I think it's like verdigris is. It's French,
right, for
so
S.
I don't know what gris stands for, but verdigris is green gris and ambergris is yellow gris.
Okay.
I'm sure I assume that it's French, and you drop the S.
That'll do.
I mean, with all French words, if you just ignore the last 4 or 5 letters, you should be good.
We'll make it a French collection of perfumists and rogue agents. All right, great. So that's perfect, because like no one would suspect perfumers for this diabolical scheme.
Because, I mean, it's in times of war that the war machine profiteers. It's in times of peace that the luxury good companies really profiteer.
Yep. Great. All right. So, what are they doing? Are they capturing blue whales in the ocean? Or have they set up a base underwater?
Yeah. I mean, all of these best films have an underwater base. Yeah. With giant sort of like walkways that are made entirely of perspex, so you can see the world around you. And then something sort of like, you know, goes past the port window on one side, and you like look out, and then it like sort of fades in from the murky deep. And in the Meg, it opens its teeth up and bites on it. I kind of like the idea of the blue whale just like opening up its mouth, and it's just those long strands of hair or whatever that it uses to filter out the krill. But when they've genetically enhanced it, it's like barbed wire. Like that's what makes it super scary.
So the genetically enhancing thing. So all they did in Deep Blue Sea was just make the brains bigger, right?
Yeah.
That's, I reckon, what they should do here, and what has actually happened is they are accelerating the evolutionary road of the whale instead.
You know what's really cool about that?
So it starts like hyper evolving. Yep.
You know what land mammal is most closely related to the whale?
What?
The hippopotamus. Has like literally got like the same like bones and stuff like that.
Okay.
It is really closely related. So all of a sudden, like you can start adding in those giant canine teeth to the whale. It starts sort of like
starts growing feet.
And you know what kills more people in Africa than any other animal apart from the mosquito? I think actually does. All of these trivia facts spewing out of Isaac's brain, like he's bursting with them. But yeah, so the hippo kills a lot of people. It's very aggressive. It like knocks boats over. Imagine that, but like 1,000 times bigger as a blue whale.
Okay. Does it grow legs as well?
I think
it needs to go further though. I think it needs to obviously yes, the hippo is related to it.
Yes.
But I think that the mad perfumists are so dizzied by their own success and their own pursuit and greed that they accelerate it past a hippo.
I mean, I'm just saying that if you're accelerating the evolutionary track of a blue whale, you can sort of look at a hippo and go, that's kind of where it's going. It can go past that as well. I'm sure you're right in that I really don't want to do what they did in Jurassic World, which was like a genetic hybrid of every animal they could throw in there.
Fun.
But I wouldn't mind. Its giant flippers sort of start taking on sort of leg qualities. It has sort of giant tusks at one point as well.
Well, I reckon it should just become amphibious.
Yes,
so
perfect.
It can it can go on land now as well. So imagine that. We don't know about the blue whale because 70% of the Earth is water,
yes,
right? Or 70% of the planet is water. So these whales are just cruising along in the oceans. We don't ever really see them unless we're watching a documentary. But now that those mad perfumists have accelerated the evolutionary process, the whales can take their first tentative steps on land and also go back in the water, so they can conquer the last 30% of the planet that they weren't able to conquer before.
So, you say the whales. Have they genetically enhanced more than one?
For sure.
I would imagine it's just a pair of whales. I think they always do that sort of thing in these monster films where there's you didn't realize, but they were a male and a female, and they had a breeding pair.
I think both Godzilla films did that.
Yeah, but the second Godzilla was the
Mothra ones,
Mothman prophecies. Just goddamn that film. If he could breathe fire the whole fucking time, why did he just wait till the end? God. Anyway,
hang on. Do we need to do that?
Having said that, I liked the fact that this not killer whale, the blue whale, instead of having teeth, has the same sort of filtery hairs, but they're covered in razor spikes.
That's right. Yeah.
What other
acid.
sort of? It can spit acid.
Acid, yeah. No, it doesn't spit. Its tendril things in its mouth are coated in acid. So if you manage to survive going through the barbs, you're going to get... No, that's right. The barbs will nick you. The acid seeps in, or the poison, or the venom. I can't remember what the difference is between a poison and a venom. Ask your science teacher. It seeps into your skin, or into the skin of whatever creature it's trying to eat.
Yeah.
Paralyzes them.
All right.
Or even better. Let's go.
Neurotoxin.
Can we go even better? Not only does it paralyze them, but it also impregnates them as well, alien style. So it just drips sort of spores into the carcass.
What is actually, instead of I sort of like that, but it starts converting you into ambergris.
Yes.
Sort of some the Medusa, how it'll turn you into stone.
Yeah.
If you get nicked or bitten, you sort of start turning into ambergris, and you get frozen. And you can't touch anyone else, because if they touch you, then you get it, and you start turning into ambergris.
But do you turn into ambergris, or do you turn into a whale?
No, I like turning into ambergris, stone.
Maybe that was the plan, right? So we can set it up in the film. So this thing happens to the whales, and it seems like the perfume people are oh no, what has happened? This wasn't meant to happen, but it really was. It really was, because that was the plan to get it.
I actually think that ambergris is biological material, so that is undigested, and the whale naturally forms a coat of sticky sort of fats and resins and stuff like that. So quite naturally, it needs that organic material to convert into
exactly.
And they're converting people into ambergris.
That's right. Yeah.
I also like the idea. We're talking about sort of enhancements that it happens to evolve.
Yep.
The blowhole, right, is a big thing that whales have that other ones. I want it to shoot something out of its blowhole. In not necessarily fire. I don't really want to go to
no, can't go fire.
No, exactly. But I was thinking ambergris bombs, sort of it shoots these big
depth charges.
Yeah, and especially because this stuff is now corrosive and toxic and converts all living cells and material into more ambergris. If it's climbing up on land and just firing sort of mortar shells landing in cities, ambergris splashes everywhere. And people are trying to run away, and they get splashed by a bit, and they turn into these stone human like Lot and the Pillars of Salt when he looked back at Sodom, like frozen, these human frozen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So it's going to be like the apocalypse. The whale apocalypse has arrived.
Yeah. This is like a literal. This is what I want to see. The largest, most terrifying animal. You know, Jaws was a great white shark. Is minuscule in comparison to this.
Godzilla, tiny,
absolutely tiny. This is
huge. And even better, now we can do the gratuitous city shots as well around the world, next to all the locations you've. Depending on what region the film is in, we'll shoot a special scene for that particular city. And then you'll see, like if it's in Australia, you'll see a blue whale with 4 stumpy legs shooting a cannonball of ambergris at the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Look, at the Opera House.
I don't know. I think Sydney gets all of those shots.
It does.
I reckon we take it somewhere else. Somewhere not so recognisable, but somewhere that the people of Fremantle will go, thank you, big Hollywood,
super local
for showing like the main street of Freo as it gets covered in ambergris. I'm sick of seeing just the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. There are other places in Australia that may not be as recognisable, but are still Australia to us.
Can I also say, I know this is actually a recognisable landmark, but I would absolutely love Ayers Rock to be coated by ambergris, because how amazing would it be to see a giant blue whale with 4 legs
crawling all the way through the desert
to Uluru? Sorry, it is Uluru, not Ayers Rock. And just coating it in ambergris.
Yeah, I mean, it tries to, and it's like, oh, that's right, I can only convert living material. And this is the world's largest monolith, which is a solid rock. But another trivia piece there from Isaac. I'm just going to keep dropping them in, because you're learning as well as being entertained.
Absolutely. I'm making all the mistakes tonight as well in terms of, like, not saying the right name of things. Or does it create life? Does Uluru like suddenly sprout like gooey ambergris legs and like pick itself up off the ground and like start walking off? We're getting into very sticky territory here.
Exactly. So what I really want to talk about here, and we've got the monster, we've got the scenario, and we've got its destructiveness.
Yep.
There's always a plucky group of scientists, researchers, ex-military researchers who's tasked with trying to stop the unstoppable monster.
Yep.
And, completely predictably, Jason Statham plays that role in The Meg, as you would expect him to. Ed Harris has in The Abyss. Sam Neill has. Christopher Pratt has. They're all very expected, unlikely heroes, which is an oxymoron. Because if it's both predictable and unlikely, it doesn't really make sense.
Absolutely.
I would actually like to cast an unlikely hero.
Completely unlikely.
Yeah, not the kind of person that you'd expect to be the unlikely hero.
Oh, okay, so...
Yeah, exactly.
So is it the likely hero then?
No, it's so these guys play unlikely heroes, but you would expect them to be playing that role.
So someone that is just...
I want someone to be an unlikely hero,
all right,
but is also unexpectedly an unlikely hero.
Yep, okay. Here's who I have in mind. Jerry Seinfeld.
I grant you, it is incredibly unlikely that he play the plucky hero.
Yeah. Because he is an awful actor. Like, all credit to him. He's obviously a brilliant comedian. Has had many years of
show. He stood there, and
did.
Just sort of said words for pretty much all of Seinfeld.
Exactly. There are a lot of. If you look closely at that show, there are a lot of times where he's struggling not to laugh at the other actors as well.
Well, that's also credit to the other actors.
Yeah, of course. But he's not an actor.
No.
Hence why.
Yes.
Perfect as the plucky hero.
Very, very unlikely hero.
And you know what? While we're there, why don't we just get Jason Alexander as well?
See, Jason Alexander I can see as playing like a scientist type character.
Yeah.
He had like a serious acting career playing in like on Broadway and a lot of places before Seinfeld.
He was in what's that romantic film with Billy Crystal? Not You've Got Mail, the other one.
I was about to say, he's in Shallow Hell, I think.
He is too,
I think he plays a character who has a tail in that one.
Oh, God. I forgot about that film. Okay. So, Jerry Seinfeld And Jerry Seinfeld as our plucky hero.
Yeah.
Jason Alexander as the
gruff, serious scientist who, and they...
Could he be the trope of like the scientist that never gets listened to?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like, we didn't listen.
Yeah.
I told you. I told you if we genetically enhance the blue whale, it's going to come back to bite us.
Exactly. Literally.
Yeah.
And does he die... Like, will he die
what?
At the end? Yep.
You know what I reckon we do with this one?
What?
Which is something that you never see in these action films, even though it's completely likely.
Yep.
We set up like the first 10-15 minutes of the film is our heroes. We set up Seinfeld as the unlikely hero.
Yep.
We set up Jason Alexander as the scientist.
Yep.
Maybe Julia Louis-Dreyfus comes in as like the scuba instructor, and she's like pressurizing, and then
so
they're like
Seinfeld reunion.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. We did reunions recently with Lord of the Rings. We'll try to steer clear of all of the Seinfeld characters.
They won't play. They'll play serious. They won't play.
They're all playing dead serious.
Yeah.
And then they're set up going, and the audience is like, okay, how are these guys going to defeat the boom? Blue whale comes in, kills them. They're in their underwater base. They're just sort of like, we're safe in here. No, you're not.
Yep.
The blue whale is the largest living creature that has ever existed. Has a mouth full of razor barbs that normally filter out plankton, but are just crush your underwater base and kill you all in the instant.
So in the first 10 minutes, we're going to wipe out all of our
all of them. All right, okay. From minutes 11 through to question mark.
Sure,
You don't know. We set up another group of plucky hero, scientist, and you know who I reckon we get for the plucky hero in this one?
Who?
Is Frankie Muniz.
Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle reunion.
All right, great.
And Bryan Cranston already has that experience of being the scientist. We didn't listen. Everything's going to go wrong from Godzilla. We get him to reprise both his roles.
And we should take after what they did for the advertising campaign for Godzilla. Prominently advertise our characters who are going to be in it for only the first 10 minutes. Kill them off. Don't mention any other actor that's in it. So, I really thought Bryan Cranston was going to be in a lot more of Godzilla.
I really did too.
And all the marketing suggested he was going to be a long...
Yeah, so see, Godzilla did a half of the job.
Yeah.
About 15 minutes into the film, they killed one of their characters.
Yeah.
This time, 15 minutes in, we kill all of them. Reboot. 15 minutes later, boom! Frankie Muniz and Bryan Cranston, sorry, your time is up. Bring in Kelsey Grammer and the guy who plays Kelsey Grammer's brother, David Hyde Pierce. How did I've never seen Frasier. I have no idea where I pulled
Frasier,
that name.
So yes,
and
I'm all for that.
And this time we reverse it around. So David Hyde Pierce plays the plucky adventurer. Yes. Kelsey Grammer plays the no-nonsense scientist, which I think he also did in X-Men.
That's true.
Beast is the scientist.
So who? I mean, no, they need to play like twins as like the plucky hero. I reckon they both need to play the plucky hero,
and they're constantly arguing. And then we cycle through. Boom! Blue whale kills them as well. Yep. And by about the fourth or fifth iteration, maybe one or two of them have survived from the attacks.
The minor characters of the show.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you get your Matthew Perry's, the quippy, witty guy who survived when Lisa Kudrow and Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer. Who would have thought that David Schwimmer couldn't swim? He drowned. So we've got that sort of ensemble cast. I'm really struggling to think of more sitcoms from the 90s. What was it? Will and Grace? I don't know anyone who's Will and Grace.
I guess.
You said there
was Dharma and Greg.
Dharma and Greg. Yeah. Whoever Dharma and or Greg happened to be.
Two guys and a girl. At a pizza place.
Ryan Reynolds was in,
and Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion was in there as well.
Everyone loves Nathan Fillion.
Exactly. So we've got this ensemble cast which have survived from the multiple attacks from the blue whale.
Yep.
And they're together, and now they've got an impossible task of trying to find a way of killing something which ostensibly is unkillable.
Yep. You know what we do? So the last band of heroes has sort of all come together from different situations or whatever, and they're on their way to like a military installation of some kind, like the last salvation place, the last safe zone that they can. You know, in Deep Impact, right?
Yeah.
So in Deep Impact, there's like a cave that only the richest and the most prominent people in the world get to go behind.
A bunker or a nuclear shelter sort of.
There's a place in Switzerland that does that houses like plant seeds for like almost every species on Earth, so that in the unlikely event of global apocalypse, someone in there can go out and start planting seeds.
Repopulate the Earth with all the species that have ever existed.
So maybe these guys are traveling to like a secret underground bunker, like a research facility, that stores like DNA for like
Yes.
all of the Earth's creatures, right?
Because everyone knows that the only way to reverse genetic engineering is to inject the original DNA of the thing that has been genetically engineered back in. It's a vaccine.
It's a vaccine.
If you put the original DNA in, it will take over and revert. Like that's exactly how genetics works.
So they go to this lab. It's whoever's left. Probably there's remaining probably Eddie the dog from Frasier as well.
Eddie's in there as well. The dogs from all of the shows from the 90s. From Seventh Heaven? There was a dog in that one. I think his name was Happy. So Happy and Eddie. Gilmore Girls had a dog as well. Yeah. So because I think I've mentioned before on this show that the only thing that really pulls at my heartstrings is when dogs get hurt in films.
Okay.
And this is like the ultimate. Every dog that you've ever liked from every 90s sitcom
they're all there.
Is all there, and their lives are in jeopardy.
Indeed. So and so we obviously can't kill them being the final group.
No.
So what they do, they go into the bunker, they find the DNA, they inject it into like a syringe or something of some kind. Nice green glowing vial of liquid, obviously. And they load it into like a tranquilizer gun or something.
Yeah.
Whale is bearing down on them. They're ready to take that first shot.
Barreling through Geneva.
Yeah, that's right, because it can barrel.
All the recognizable skyscrapers of Geneva and... Where did you say it was? Sweden?
Switzerland.
Switzerland? I think Geneva is in Switzerland.
Sure.
Bern I think is another city. Yep. I don't really know the geography of Switzerland that well.
Isn't? I thought it was CERN.
No, Bern is the capital of Switzerland. The CERN Large Hadron Collider.
That's right, yep.
Is that?
It's science related.
Yeah, it's all science.
Yep.
They're like, why are you keeping seeds in here? I don't know. We're colliding them together. See what sort of plants can come out. That's not how science. That's not a particle. Never mind. It's all science.
Maybe that's how the French perfumists like kicked off
exactly.
the experiment.
We kind of forgot about that. This is the scientific perfumist.
Yeah.
Because like they had this underground bunker, and they say we're storing all of species. No, we're doing secret research, smell research.
But by this point, the facility's been destroyed because this was like ground zero for the whales to break out, right?
Yeah.
So they've busted out. They've taken over the world. The last group of survivors is like, we have to go back to the source. They'll have the DNA. They make a concoction. They only get two like darts, two goes.
There's only enough DNA to make two glowing green darts.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got to increase the stakes somehow.
Yeah, of course.
Because the largest creature that has ever been alive on the Earth is bearing down, and somehow we need to increase the stakes. So they've got two darts.
They've got two darts. The first shot ricochets, just like malfunction, something goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
Or like they're loading it into the gun and they slip and it falls off into like a bottomless
it cracks
abyss.
open, the green DNA goes on the ground, whatever.
That's it. Yeah, it's lost forever. So they've
exactly.
only got like
That's
one...
what happens. In all of these movies where there's a 1 in a million shot and they have two chances, the first one has to fail. So it builds up the tension of the second shot.
Yep.
We have the giant killer whale bearing down on our favorite dogs.
Yep.
The stakes could not be higher.
So is it only dogs at this point?
No, we still have
humans?
Like, you know, they're just sort of stranded in a building.
Yeah.
And the killer whale, not the killer whale.
I do like the idea.
It is a killer whale, but it's not a killer whale.
No, it's not.
Is about to crush them. They line up the shot with the dart gun.
Yep. Okay. And then, like, out of nowhere, the second blue whale.
That's right.
The female blue whale that they all didn't know about. No one knew about it. But there was a second one
there. There was a breeding pair. We're going to have to lay some sort of clues in the bunker.
Yeah.
Like as if there were sort of like two all along.
Whiteboards in the background maybe with like hints to say that they're working on two of them. They've got like the XY chromosome things,
exactly,
maybe that showing different sex. They're just like, or maybe like a second, like they walk past destroyed facility and there seems to be a second tank, but it's empty.
Yeah, exactly. So
like,
if you're eagle-eyed, you pick up on the clues,
Yeah.
but until this point, you are not aware that there is a second giant blue whale.
Yeah, and then that second giant blue whale comes out and like, I don't know, steps...
Boom! Kills them! Done!
What? What do you mean?
You gotta. I mean, okay. So here's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
Our monster is a genetically enhanced, largest being that has ever lived on this planet.
Yeah.
Do you think it's gonna win, or do you think the humans are gonna defeat it?
Wait, are you pitching that no one win? Like we don't win.
No,
I mean the whales win.
There is a 1 in a million shot in every film that has ever been made.
Yeah, and
the stakes are raised. Yeah. There's a 1 in a million chance that they may hit the shot, that they may find the cure, that they may upload the computer virus into the alien, whatever. And it just always seems to work.
Yeah.
What I'm pitching here, we've already established throughout the film that we have no qualms in killing off our lead characters because they are up against insurmountable
unthinkable
odds.
Yeah.
So they don't surmount it.
You're going to kill them all.
Splat. Main characters killed. They do not fire off the shot. Credits roll. The audience is thinking, is that the end of the film? And there is no post-credit sequence. Yes, that is the end of the film. We literally put our every hero ever up against something that they just couldn't defeat.
Yep.
It had to happen eventually. The heroes had to win. And that is the end of the film.
So the way
Fade to black. We're done.
I have to say, that's original. No one has ever done that. Like, imagine Independence Day, or Godzilla, or any other of those big disaster films. Where
Bruce Willis is on the asteroid. He presses the detonator, closes his eyes, and thinks of Liv Tyler, his daughter, as Aerosmith plays.
Yep.
The detonator malfunctions. The rock just crashes into Earth and kills everyone.
Well, actually, the opposite ending for that film would be that Bruce Willis lives and no one else does.
It's like,
somehow
the meteor just plows through Earth, kills everyone, and he's just sort of still there trying to click the button on the detonator. So this is exactly what I want to do. I want to do a giant monster creature film where the giant monster creature cannot be killed.
Yeah,
it's just too big.
I'm all for that. Like they did in the most recent Godzilla film. They made Godzilla as someone that you would meant to root for.
Exactly.
So, like,
he was the hero.
He was the hero. Yeah. So we just want to make the villains win.
Exactly.
That's original. That's great. I love it. All right.
Perfect.
Cool. All right, last thing to do, as per usual, is we've got to give this a name.
Title.
We've obviously, we want to take inspiration from what is by far the worst movie
The
title
Meg
we've ever heard of.
is horrible. It's
disgusting.
It is such a bad title. It describes nothing about the film.
No.
You get no sense of what it is.
Yep.
You look at it and go, The Meg, this could be like a romantic comedy where a struggling screenwriter invents a girl called Meg and and then you look at it, it's like, oh no, it's a monster film with a giant shark? Why the hell did they call it The Meg? It tells me nothing.
Yep.
That is what we're competing with. We have to come up with a film title that is
obscure
that
and
bad.
stupid.
See, normally we'd probably go through and go, I said killer whales.
Yep.
I think like that, isn't bad. It's a bit misleading.
Mm-hmm.
Something genetic, something sort of deep blue.
Perfumey, maybe?
Perfumey could, but these are all things that give away what the film could possibly be.
True,
we need to come up with something
it has to be super
that's
vague.
horrible.
All right.
Like blue whale or...
Yep, bluey.
Bluey is again. Blue, B-L-U, B-L. How can we contract that further?
Can we... well, I was going to say, like, if we just made it like... So Meg is short for Megalodon.
Yeah.
Whale... Wha?
What?
The what?
BW. The BW.
The BW?
The BW. That's horrible. That is absolutely horrendous. It says nothing about whales.
It's disgusting.
It sounds weird. It sounds like something you wouldn't want to Google at work because you're not sure exactly what the acronym stands for.
Yeah, it does. And it almost sounds like some kind of like French Nouveau cinema film. Like it'd be shot in black and white and like super wide angle and in one location or something like that. Yeah. But then you watch the trailer for it. It's like, oh, it's a film where whales have evolved and are taking over the earth. The BW.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right.
I think that's a wrap.
I think it is. What do we got in the way of housekeeping this week?
Housekeeping as per usual. We are online. We are moviefilmstudios.net where you can find all of our previous episodes, some bios of us, and Mufasa Wadada, our directory of every single film that we've created on this podcast. We are on Facebook. Search for Movie Film Studios and join the community.
Yeah. Because you're part of the community this week, you got to see the infographic with just how big a blue whale is compared to everything else.
You will not get that bonus content anywhere else, including Twitter, because the only thing on Twitter on our @MovieFilmStudio account is a bot that tells you when the episodes are out.
It would be so easy if we could just post that to Twitter, but we won't.
We won't, no.
Just for...
bespoke, custom content for Facebook. We also post emoji clues on there as to the films that we've watched.
Congratulations this week for getting it right, because The Meg, it was just such an easy emoji clue to come up with.
And we are on iTunes and Podbean and any other place that you might get fine podcasts. So get into it. I mean, you probably already have if you're listening to this, but tell other people to get into it.
Tell your friends, definitely.
Tell your friends. Give us a rating on iTunes if you like it, because those actually do help us quite a lot.
Do we get any money if we get likes and subscribs on YouTube? Theoretically, we're supposed to get like 0.1 of a cent if we get a like and a subscribe, I'm fairly sure. So help fund us.
Yeah, absolutely. Our films don't make us enough money
No.
to keep the green room powered.
Exactly.
Okay, and I think that's it.
I think that's it. All that remains, again, this week is to thank you all for listening. I've been Isaac.
And I've been AJ.
Roll credits.
March winds and April showers.